Bueno, hola. Today is 19th of December of 2025 and this is a video update because in September 2024 I recorded a video in a moment that I was going through a transition, came through like a hard time, to then being really inspired, to having the intention to make some conscious actions and take some conscious decisions in my life regarding my work, my time, my routines, my energy. I'm very grateful for what my life has been so far, really. It's been 30 years of an amazing journey. And I wanted to do this video on September because I thought, why not? Maybe it's a good idea to do a video every September, even as a personal documenting. Being a documentary filmmaker, I'm a lover of documenting and gathering and, having kind of the access to that memory. And it's something I think I will appreciate even more with time. But it's also a challenge for me to make myself visible, to stop judging myself when I look at myself, to stop thinking this needs to, appeal to certain people, and it's a good challenge to have. So I will make this video public. Not necessarily many people will find it, I think, but it's a good exercise for myself. But why did I want to do this video update? To really kind of recap on my life since that first video I did in September. And I'm very excited to see how this continues to change through life, through the years. Next time I'd love to do it on September as well, because that first video was a very spontaneous video. It was in September just because I happened to be in Bali and I was feeling inspired and I was feeling like I wanted to talk. I love conversations, but I never have a conversation like this, like with myself, although I do write a lot. This is a good exercise, and I'm often behind the camera. This time I'm in front of the camera. So I haven't actually rewatched that first video recently at all, because it still gives me a little bit of cringe. But I'm trying to just be not hard with myself. It's fine. But I do remember I was coming through a transition of having the full-time job, which I really enjoyed at the beginning, and then it was just draining me and my time and my energy, and I was not resonating with many things in there, to then feeling uncertainty, fear, but also a big determination for this was meant to happen. Now I just want to focus on my practice, my independency, if that's a word, being independent, working with different projects, with different people that really nurture me. And I am very glad to say that this past year and couple of months have been exactly that, with its ups and downs. But looking back, in September 2025, I was in Indonesia. I was inspired because I was there. I was filming stories around, strangers I just met. But I was also like, ooh, what's coming next, I have a big passion for... Sorry. I have a big passion for people's stories, for human condition, for people, organizations, initiatives that are pretty much just helping the world be more connected, more cohesive, understand each other. I also live in Ballarat. It's been 5 years now that we live here with Danny. It's a small city close to Melbourne, because many people overseas have asked me. They have no idea where Ballarat is. And that's also... It's been a good experience, but it's been also a challenge. In terms of work, at the beginning, it's just hard to find more work here. Many more things happen in Melbourne. So my first few years, I was just traveling to Melbourne a lot. For freelance jobs, for projects, for casual work with an organization I used to work with. Then for this full-time thing with the other place. And then when that happened, I was like, you know what? It's my time to focus in Ballarat. And I think I need to thank myself, because I'm someone that likes to engage with purpose. And it was hard, I sent a lot of emails, I texted a lot of people, I went to meet some other people. And then slowly it started happening. And I got kind of a situation that I really enjoyed, which was having a part-time for the first half of the year with an organization that is just beautiful and meaningful, with people that is just beautiful and meaningful, in a multi-arts project. So it included having my filmmaking skills, making a doco, but it also included adding some leadership and organization skills, arranging some workshops with other local artists, and then engaging young diverse people, recording podcasts, like so many things. And that was extremely rewarding. Like, we launched it even just a few months ago, and it was beautiful. At the same time, I've been doing quite a bit of things. I did a project with the council called Hidden in May, which was amazing. It was about projection art. So they chose 8 artists of different art forms and upskilled us in projection art. And then we were commissioned to do this festival. And it was amazing. Like, I love being able to expand my practice to different mediums, to different places, make it interactive for people. That also is now there as a little seed, because it sparked the idea of making things in a different way, not always doing things for screen in a specific medium. At the same time, filming the short film with the young people, I got engaged by someone I actually interviewed to do a film of the queer community. It was an intergenerational project, and that was also really interesting. It's not a world I'm very much aware of, but it was interesting to see teenagers asking older people, very interesting questions. And just putting that film together was another challenge itself, because I get excited. Editing, I get excited. And if I have, 7-8 hours of conversation, turning that into a 10-minute film is hard. It ended up being I think 29-minute film. But it was I just love being in different realities. And that was a little window into a different community that I really don't know much about, especially like here. And then through that, I've been also engaging with other organizations and other artists and other people in Ballarat that pretty much all move around the either arts or community or social sector, which is something I really, really wanted, and something I probably even journaled in the past. So it's been a year that, heart-wise and like meaning-wise, full on, like, I've loved it. Then it's also the challenge of, is this sustainable? It's full on. Some months are better than when I had the full time. Some months are not great, but then each time I'm trying to put less and less weight on that, because the kind of days I have now, the type of interactions I have, the type of projects I'm involved with, they're so worth it. And then I only believe it's gonna continue to be like that. And I've always had Danny's support, my partner, in every project I do, really. I think he just trusts and believes in me so much, and it's nice to see it and feel it, because although I do believe in myself, and I know I've done some projects that I should be like, that happened, enough to believe in myself, but I still have things there, which I guess we all have in different aspects of life. So yeah, what else? I did Hidden, I did the How Queer Look film, I did the Living Stories project, which had a film, podcast, arts workshops. I did a project with Amy, who is a local artist I actually met this year. Beautiful human. She did an installation called Art for a festival called Community. It was all about the routine and the ritual of drinking tea. People painted their own things, and I was part of the project taking portraits of community, which is now actually displayed in Berkeley Square, which is a place here in Ballarat. that was nice. And then started other conversations with other people to do future projects in the future. I also applied for a couple of grants, which is something I really wanted more time for. In the past, I've always known as an artist in Australia, there's that great possibility of developing projects that I want and that resonate with me, with kind of my conditions and my ideas, and make it sustainable through grants. There's, local grants, there's national grants, there's everything. But really, with the life I was having, I never had time. We always have time, energy to do it. And this year, that's been a thing. I'm becoming better at writing grants. Couple of them denied. I got my first grant approved, which was exciting. And this is to start filming a short film about Mary, who is a friend from South Sudanese background, but she's been in Australia for 30 years. And since I met that woman a couple of years ago, something in me was like, I need to make a film about her story. I know she has a lot, and she has already shared with me a lot of her story through a book she's writing, still in draft, and it's amazing. So that's a new challenge for next year, which starts in 2 weeks. Next year starts in 2 weeks. It's a beautiful challenge because it's a project I'm absolutely embracing myself as a creative director, as a, many of the films I've done, they've been a beautiful collaboration, and I most of the times I direct these films, but it's through fans or, of an organization, and they have a message they want to share, which I of course resonate with. But this time, from the very first idea, it came from what I feel I want to tell about Mary. So I got a grant to start that film. I got another one to support some of the post-production, and that was all within 2 months, just recently, which, maybe for some people is not huge, but for my younger self, it's huge. I'm now not only like writing grants of my projects, but I got a couple approved, which keeps building on my belief that being an artist, being a filmmaker, it can be absolutely sustainable. And I'm still working towards that. I'm committed towards that. And yeah, looking at the calendar last week, because I want to see how is my year, my 2026 gonna look like. I have a few projects happening in the first 6 months, which is exciting. One of them is also filming some stories from lived experience speakers from multicultural backgrounds for an e-learning platform about cultural competency, which may sound strange, like what even is that? But it's so very related to what I've always worked on. Is, cultural awareness is kind of through people, through stories, through real life experiences, making people aware of humanity, really. And the good thing and the exciting thing about this project is that I know it's going to reach so many people because it's in an educational form. So the organization is building an e-learning platform, and the videos are going to be part of it to support what they teach of cultural competency. And that's a way of making change, I believe, because sometimes in the past, for example, with Nuestras Voces, Our Voices, which is the film I made in COVID 2021 with Latin Stories Australia, a film that absolutely changed my life, that had so much success, much more than what I thought. We premiered and traveled around Australia showing it. Hundreds of people have watched it and they've been very impacted. But that's a feature film, it's an hour 20. And I know sometimes it's not accessible for spacers or rooms that I feel need to listen to this message and this story. Which, by the way, brackets, I think that will be another very cool project. And it's turning that film into things that are more, usable in corporations, organizations, schools, universities. But that's something I need to talk to about with Latin Stories, and maybe apply for a grant or something to make it happen, because there's a lot of, golden content in there. But anyways, this project with BRMC is pretty much that. We have filmed already 6 speakers from everywhere in the world, now putting it together for the e-learning platform, and I think that's going to be a job of the next 2-3 months. So we see what happens. Next year, September 2026, I'll see how it evolved and what happened with that. That's one project. Then I have Mary's short film, which I also need to finish by mid-year because I want to be able to show it for Refugee Week, because it's a local story and Ballarat doesn't really show much local stories in these events, and there's a lot of local stories that could be shared. So that's another aim that I have. And then, continue collaborating with other people, continue my practice, my local practice, continue working with CMY as a contractor, as a freelancer in different ways. CMY is the organization I work with this year for the Living Stories project. And actually, we already got approved a new project called See Me, Hear Me, Know Me, where I'll do a couple or maybe 3 little films of positive stories of young people with diverse cultural backgrounds in Ballarat. So as you see, it's all very related, but also for different purposes, for different people, for different outcomes, but all with the same common purpose of sharing stories that matter, to generate awareness, to generate cohesion, to make people understand each other, feel more empathy for each other, which is, I think, something that lives in me naturally, wanting to do this kind of work. So I am grateful. I am proud of myself, and sometimes it's hard to acknowledge that because there's always so much more I could be doing, achieving, creating, but there's always so much less I could be doing, achieving, creating. And I think what I've been doing this year and couple months has been amazing and has been so aligned with what I wanted. It's been so aligned with who I am. I'm also in a process of wanting to take more care of my energy, of my time, of my interactions, do it with intention, be in spaces only where I really want to be in because they're going to be nurturing. Keep putting myself out there because I just like to engage with the world, really, with people that are different from me or people that have similarities with me, learn from them, show them also a different perspective or, thought through my life, through where I come from. Continue, building on the life I have with Danny. I think this year was also great to kind of consolidate that, and I love that. Yeah, that's pretty much what's been happening in terms of work and time for me this year. I remember last year I was feeling uncertain and fearful but excited. This year, I wouldn't say I feel so much fear. I think uncertainty is there. It's always there. I was talking to a friend recently and I was telling her, look, if my grown-up mind comes in, I'm like, I should know what's exactly happening this year and where income is going to come from every single month and all this kind of security that many, many people strive for to have mapped out exactly. But then when my intuitive, joyful child that believes that abundance is a natural state and that is not only, income, but it's also the life I have, the time I have, the flexibility I have, which I appreciate now more than ever, then that child is very happy with the life that I have right now and is trusting that's only gonna come. Beautiful things are gonna keep coming. So I think there is uncertainty. There is some sense of responsibility as well. Responsibility of my own life, responsibility of the team I have with Danny, responsibility of my own practice, keep doing it with the best, quality and intention, but also responsible with my time to make it sustainable. And when I say sustainable, I'm not only talking about money, but I'm talking about energy. Still make it sustainable energy-wise. And if I need to, which I know I need to, be more precise in some routines and habits and things that are going to help me keep it sustainable for myself. and aligned and energizing. Yeah, and I think just, keep embracing things. Another thing that I didn't mention that is actually really important that happened this year is we finally got invited to apply for the citizenship. We did the exam many months ago. We actually got invited to apply to the ceremony, but we were away. We were overseas. We went to Colombia because my brother got married. So we didn't attend the ceremony, and it's of course now going to happen in 2026. But that's exciting because it's something that we've been dealing with, thinking about, and working for the past many years. So I love that having that status, citizenship, or passport is also another door or another window to continue living life intentionally and to be very conscious of what we want and how we want it. It's a process that is also into, and I'm excited for his own eagerness and keen to continue living a life of meaning and look for things that resonate with him truly. We're together for the process. Another thing that happened is this house. We're actually right now in what we call the happy room. It's a townhouse with a beautiful area at the back. It has a little forest. And it's also a house I think we manifested. I was writing about a place like this when we started looking for a house, which is not very common in Ballarat. Big windows on that side, then like an interesting looking setup, 2 levels, nature, feels cozy, feels inspirational. What else do I want? It's like all the work has paid off. All our work, energy, time, and we're still in this process. It's life just continues to evolve. So that's good. So now I've done this video, no script, nothing. It's pretty much for my own personal documentation and whoever I guess jumps into it and sees it. Very grateful for what this year has been. This year and 2 months, and then we'll see what happens in 2026.